the CR.
What, the larynx?
The larynx. And we would call it the voice box, but in the cat, meow
Meow
box.
box.
Exactly, meow box.
Can we write that?
We,
in
yeah,
the
we put
answer?
that on the test and take it.
Just put larynx, comma.
So the pink
Yep.
is the larynx,
Mhm.
the red is the trachea.
And we should say larynx. And then that one is the esophagus. Okay. And then we come down. We cut its heart out. So it'll actually be a female, heartless female.
Mm-hmm.
Big blue one coming into the heart. From the bottom. What's that one, y'all?
Inferior vena.
Good.
Are you putting the lungs right?
These are all lungs.
All the greens.
Mhm. Ouch. My thumb's not. Lung, 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 lung. Diaphragm. Well, crap. What's all that?
Diaphragm.
Liver.
Oh, so the stomach.
Liver.
Liver.
So
Which
just-
one is the, so which one's the left and right lobe?
This side over here, right side, over there, left side.
Okay.
And they've got left lateral, left medial, right lateral, right medial. But all I care that y'all know is liver.
Okay.
Deal?
Yeah. So we don't need to know like the lobes, right?
We could.
Okay.
Or
Right,
like the-
right lateral, right medial,
Okay.
left medial, left lateral. Now we gotta find that little gallbladder. Yes. And we're gonna use that color because the bile is kind of green. See how a sac like that is right there? That's the gallbladder. Okay. All of this that's laying on top, this guy right here, this is called your mesenteries, okay? And it's a fat-filled apron that lays down the front for protection, fat storage, okay? And it kind of just lays just like that. So this is called the greater omentum. If it hangs from the stomach straight down and then kind of comes back up. And in that greater omentum, there's this structure right here. This looks like a tongue. That's the spleen. Okay. And then what this is all attached to, the base of right here, you can see this thing right here. This is all the stomach.
Okay.
Right here. So I should be able to go up like this and find right up in here where the esophagus comes into the stomach. That would be the cardiac sphincter. Okay, so all of this is stomach, and it comes around like this, makes that kind of a shape like this. Okay, and then it narrows into this little bitty piece right here, and there's a little band right there. So this is the pyloric sphincter. This is the pylorus of the stomach, where it's really narrow, and then it goes into a little sphincter that I can see right there. That's the pyloric sphincter. And then we move into the duodenum. So this tube right here is the duodenum. Okay? And it's the short one. Okay? So from about there, and then the common bile duct comes into that. But I don't see the common bile duct in there. But see this tissue right here? Okay. And over here, see this tissue right here? Same tissue. This is the pancreas. Kind of under the stomach, between it and the duodenum. So that's the pancreas. Okay? And then all of this is small intestine here. And three parts to it. The first part's the duodenum. It's the short segment. Then the middle is the jejunum. And then the last one is the ileum. So in this mess, it would be very hard for me to tell you where the jejunum starts and the ileum starts and the jejunum ends and that kind of stuff. But I can show you right here, because this is small intestine right here. See how small it is? That tube right there. I'm going to separate it so y'all can see. This is actually the intestine part. It's right here. Okay? And it's about to go into this bigger part right here. So this is the large intestine, or the colon. So see where it goes in. I'm going to pull it back a little bit. It goes in right here. So there's a little sphincter there called the ileocecal valve. Okay, so it goes in here. We've got this little dangly thing off the bottom. This is the cecum. Okay, and what's on the end of the cecum? Appendix. So y'all see their appendix sticking up right there?
It's the yellow.
No, they don't have one. They don't have an appendix. They don't have an appendix. They're meat eaters. Okay, so they don't have an appendix. They don't have a shriveled up old appendix like we do. Okay, so this is a cecum, no appendix. So cats don't have appendicitis. Okay, and then it's going to go up like this. That's the ascending part. It's going to go across this way. That's the transverse. It's going to come down, descending, and then it's going to make that little zigzag. That's a sigmoid colon, and into the rectum, which is here. And then we've got the anus on the outside. Okay?
That's all we need to know.
I'm going to do a little bit more pinning, though. And that way you'll have everything. And there's a sheet in your lab book, if you have it, that has the picture of it. And we can label that from this. Okay? Because it doesn't have any labels on it. Sigmoid. While we're here, okay, y'all see this right here? This is her uterine tube. That's the ovary right here, okay? And what I was noticing is there's little lumps right here. Maybe there's either that or she's got a cyst there, but it's very small. I mean, it's tiny, y'all see? It's like a English pea size. And I was going to check this other side to see if we had anything similar. It is very thickened, which means she has had babies before probably. It's a lot thicker than that other one was, very stringy, remember? It's a lot more muscular, so she probably has had a litter before. And it's shrunk down a little bit. Either that or she's pregnant for the first time. There. But they're tiny. They would not have even known she was pregnant. And then here's the bladder laying on top there. And her bladder's empty. And we appreciate that. We're going to talk about these coming up, reproductive and. So I'm not going to mess up her reproductive stuff so we can use it later. Okay? So let's go from mouth up here, and we're going to talk about the tongue and the papillae on the tongue. So with this one, y'all know the cats have the really rough tongue, and we can see the papillae on their tongue. Okay, see how rough it is right there? Feels like sandpaper, right? And that's for moving the food around in their mouth and that kind of stuff. If you look at the roof of the cat's mouth, they have the rugae on the surface of their oral cavity. Okay, so that's a bunch of bumps and that kind of stuff. Okay, we've got the teeth with enamel on them. These are the hardest substance in the body. Okay, and then if we look inside her mouth, she's got very few teeth. She's a meat eater, so we don't need a lot. We're going to tear off big hunks of meat and swallow it whole. Okay, and then it's going to go down underneath this trachea into this tube, which is the esophagus. The esophagus goes here and it goes under the heart. Okay, that's why we get heartburn, because the reflux into the esophagus is right behind the heart, so it feels like we've got a burning in our chest. Okay, so it's going under here, so I can still follow it along under here. Under, goes under, through, punches a hole through the, what's this right here? So what? Diaphragm. And I have to move up close to the top of the diaphragm here. And let me get rid of a little bit more of this fluid here, and maybe we can see the esophagus coming in. She's juicy. So right there's the esophagus coming in, right there, into the stomach. So if we're going in order, the stomach has the upper part around the esophagus, which is called the cardia. Okay, then as it makes this loop out in here, this is the fundus, the big body of it, and then when it narrows into this part here, this is the pylorus with a sphincter on the end. That's the pyloric sphincter that holds everything into our tummies. From this pyloric sphincter, this first part of the tube here that we need to mark, and we'll make it gold. That is the duodenum. Okay, that's this tube here, and then it's following this tube. So I've got it in my fingers, and I'm just gonna, if I walked it all the way through, okay, we could trace this all the way around here. It's coming around in here. Now it's in here. So now I'm probably in the jejunum. And we just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Now I'm probably in the ileum. Just keep going, keep following it along until we get to this part where it's going to join into the large intestine right here. So y'all see this small one here coming into this big one. There's a valve here with a white pin. That's the ileocecal valve, sticking off the end a little bit further to the bottom, inferior to that. That's the cecum. And then we go up. That's the ascending colon We go across, that's the transverse colon. We come down, descending colon, where it makes this little zigzag, that's the sigmoid colon here. And then in the pelvis, down in here where my finger is, that's going to be the rectum, and then we've got the anus here. Okay? Now that's the tube. The things that we have to know outside the tube, the liver that's going to produce the bile, the little green guy here, this little sac structure,
Gallbladder.
that's the gallbladder, this guy right here. Okay? And it's going to store the bile that we're going to send down to the duodenum. And then we've got the pancreas that's between the stomach and the duodenum, this guy right here. Okay? That's the pancreas. It's going to produce two different things for us. It's going to be a hormone-producing factory that produces insulin and glucagon that regulates our blood sugar. It also produces a ton of digestive enzymes, probably the biggest digestive enzyme producer in our body. That's why we don't live without this very well. We don't have control of our blood sugar, and we don't produce all those digestive enzymes, okay? So I'm gonna come back, flip this back over where it should be. What's this guy right here? That's the spleen, okay? And we talked about it being kind of, well, we talk about it. It's like a tongue, and it's very fibrous. You can just tear it. See how easy it is? So you don't suture this very well. If you blow out your spleen, they just take your spleen out. Liver will take over for it. Okay? This structure here that lays on top of everything, this is called the greater omentum. And this is an apron that lays just like this over the top of us for protection. Serves as a way to store energy in the fat that's in here. Protects it, holds everything in place. There's also one, besides the greater omentum, there's this one that holds the small intestine in place. See all of these with the blood in it? This very thin membrane here, all of this that's underneath it. This is called the mesentery proper. Okay, it's a tree of mesenteries that keeps your small intestines from tangling up. Okay, tying in a knot and that kind of stuff. Some organisms have a problem where they have a really big chest and there's a lot of space in here, so when they run, it causes tangling in the intestines, and dogs are famous for this. I think, what, Marley and Me, that's what Marley died of. Okay, so there's other mesenteries, okay, that I'm not that big on. If we know those, that's fine. I do want to show you one other little structure, because it is in our lab manual. There is this thing that holds the liver to the diaphragm, and it splits it into the right and the left side. Y'all see this? See that right there? That's called the falciform ligament. Okay? And it divides the liver into the right and the left sides. Okay? And it becomes part of the mesentery as we move on down. Okay? So I'm going to put a pin on that one. And we've done the digestive system. Then let's do the respiratory system, okay? So the respiratory system, up here with the pink pin, we have the meow box or the larynx. Okay, that's that big wad of, and I actually cut through it right there so we could see into the voice box. Okay, but I didn't see anything really cool, so I was like, okay. So there's the larynx. Then we've got the trachea with the C-ring cartilage. You can feel the bumpiness here. It goes down and it bifurcates into the bronchi, which I don't see, but I do see all these green ones that we've labeled the lungs. Okay? The other thing that's important in the respiratory system is our diaphragm, right? Okay? So when we were talking earlier, we said that there should be on this part of the lungs, this would be the visceral pericardium. Out here would be the parietal pericardium, right? Except it wouldn't be pericardium, it would be perineum. Okay? So that makes that connection, and there should be fluid in here, and we had to sop up a lot of fluid because that's what that wetness was that held the lungs to the wall of the rib cage. Okay? And that's where that sac is. Okay? So if y'all grab your picture, we'll walk through the picture and see if we can find the same things on the picture that we can see on this cat.
Are you gonna